You're listening to The A to Z of Spirituality by Divine Soul Yolandi Bossel. I work with lightworkers and starseeds who are ready to transform their lives and shine. I will be covering loads of topics relating to spiritual growth, and I will teach you what I have learned on my own journey so far. A journey of connecting with my sacred Mary Magdalene sisterhood, my cosmic lineage, my earth ancestors, sacred sites around the world, and my own divine soul. So, if you're ready for some profound ideas and deep spiritual connection, make sure you join me today. Grab a cuppa and let's shine. Hi there, this is Yolandi from Divine Soul, and today we are looking at G. So the theme that I picked for today is grounding. And this is one that I neglected for many, many, many years as part of my spiritual practice. And I really want to speak to you guys today about the importance of this because of the things that I learned and what I was shown about, like why it's actually important for us all to make sure that we do ground and connect properly with Mother Earth, or Mother Gaia, as I like to call her. Okay, so one of the big things for me is that I spent a lot of my time walking around super spacey when I just started my journey. So when I started reading the Akashic records, I was all like, "Ooh, this is amazing because now I get to play around in this fantastic fifth dimensional energy, and I get to see all these good things." And then every time that I finished, I'd be walking around quite spacey and a little bit out of it, and so I and it obviously it felt pretty good because you feel like you're on a bit of a high all the time, but it's obviously not really good for you um, because you start almost losing a bit of connection with reality. And one of the things as a star seed, and if you've been following me for a while, you know that I've spoken a lot about being a star seed. I will be doing some podcasts about that in the future as well. But the thing is with being a star seed is that your natural tendency or your natural feeling and your idea about being here is that you don't really like being on Earth. Okay, so like deep within, you still want to be up there in space, doing your thing, floating around, playing in the higher dimensions, and being in this density and being on this Earth and in this dimension is really quite hard. So when I started waking up to what was actually happening with me and being a starseed and all of that type of stuff, I kind of avoided grounding myself because I liked the fact that I remembered how to play in the other dimensions, and I wanted more of that because I was missing home, right? I was missing my essential place of being connected to the stars and not being from this planet, and not really being connected to her at all. And it was about 3-4 years into my journey, I had this really weird need to start finding out more about the earth. So, if I can explain, it was like I was functioning from my heart, the chakras from my heart, throat, third eye, crown, like upwards. That was all working like fabulously well. But all of my lower chakras, so solar plexus, sacral, like root, all of that, earth star, like it was always sort of out of alignment. I always felt like I couldn't get the energy that I was working with through my entire body. So it was almost like I was, it would stop by my heart and I couldn't get it to go down. And if you think about it, like when we're only in those top like chakras of ours and we're just functioning from that energy, we don't actually get to be grounded enough to be in creation mode and like all the stuff that we're thinking about, we're not really building things or making things happen. So we're literally like floaty up there, but never grounding any of that amazing information that we're getting back into the earth, into this experience, and doing something with it. So it became very apparent to me at that point in time that I needed to learn how to reconnect with the earth so that I could start bringing the ideas and the creations and everything that was floating around in my head into this actual experience, into this world and into this reality, because I mean, you know, it's your job is to come and teach people stuff, and your job is to help people to connect back with their consciousness. So why would you just be in your own floaty bubble the whole time and not actually be producing things and making things that can help other people? So for me, that became really important. And I went through a whole mission. I think I traveled to Peru, and I really worked with a shaman there that helped me to really reconnect with the earth again. So that was a big thing for me. And there was big shifts there once I started recognizing the earth as a spiritual being. I started understanding how she felt, and I started really connecting with her energy there. And I was so grateful that, you know, the local people there, they live their life like that, right? They are completely and utterly connected with her, living from the land, and just really with so much reverence and respect. So it was a beautiful experience to go through that. And that was sort of where the seed got planted. And when I really worked with the shaman and I started feeling into her energy, it woke something up within me. So it took a bit of work from that point forward. And then I, in that same year, just a few months later, I visited Adam's Calendar in South Africa, which is an ancient stone circle. I was on an amazing retreat with some really awesome people there, and one of the places that we visited was really quite magical. It was this weird, like, moon landscape place, and it was at the edge of this cliff. And this morning when we got there, it was so beautiful because we got to the edge of the cliff, and then it was just a bank of clouds. So it kind of felt like you were at the end of the world. You couldn't even see anything below you. It was just clouds. And there was this big rock that stuck out, and everyone got a chance to sit on this rock and meditate and do their thing there for themselves. And once I got my opportunity to sit on the rock, I just had this overwhelming sense of wanting to go back home. I wanted to go back to Andromeda and to be in the stars. And I was in the space of like, oh, why am I here? Like, what am I doing? And it was really overwhelming for me. And I know I feel quite emotional still when I think about it. But the minute something said, like, put your hands on the rock, and I put my hands down on the rock, and it was like the earth just started speaking to me. Like, within me, there was this question about, like, why am I here? And she said to me, it was like, you chose to be here. You wanted to be here. You, as a soul, put your hand up and you came here to do the work. And that was such a big thing for me because it was like, this was all my choice. I literally was the person who decided that I wanted to come to this hectic earth experience, and I wanted to be here and help people and teach people and bring people back to themselves and do all these things. But yet I'm avoiding, like, being with her. Like, she is the reason I came here, and yet I'm shunning her. And it was such a massive aha moment for me when I realized that I needed to start working with my energy with her. So, in terms of what happened there for me, was it taught me that I needed to ground. I needed to be super connected with nature and Mother Earth, because the minute I started doing that, my whole spiritual experience just expanded and really opened up. Because when we are grounded in this energy here, our ability to receive information from the cosmos and from other energies that are like higher dimensional energies increases. So it literally changes. So if you can imagine, like, you're like a radio, and because you're like properly grounded into the earth, and you start, like, then tuning in, you can tune in so much better because you're not just like floating around in space going, oh. But this is like, because you're here, you are like this fantastic magnet, and you can pull in all of this energy and information and codes and all sorts of amazing things, right? So for me, that was really, really important. And it just shifted all my work. So my creativity started to also really come into its own. My sense of belonging here started changing because I accepted the fact that I chose to come here. So sometimes, I mean, I still like flit in and out, but for the most part, I am fully and utterly embracing nature and Mother Gaia and all her energies, and that is really standing me in good stead. So it is completely shifting the way that I look at my life, that I do my spiritual work, and it is really just opening me up to so much more. So the reason I wanted to do the podcast today is to just give you some examples and ideas as to how you can um, like enhance your experience with her and really just start being in that space of gratitude for Gaia and being in that space of like understanding that you as a soul chose to be here and that you need to be present in this like body and in this earth and here so that you can start connecting with the light within you. So I've got a couple of things, or about 2, 3 things that I want to share with you. And then you can obviously have a look and see what resonates with you, because these things just really help me. So the first practice was given to me by a really amazing friend of mine. And she's a traditional healer. And one thing that I love about working with her is the reverence and the immense connection with Mother Gaia. So in the work that she does, it's all about like understanding nature, understanding like how we are connected to Earth, all those type of things. And this was one thing that she suggested that I do. And this is also really good for opening up your heart. So when I don't know, like in the Christian religion, um, like as a kid, you were always on your knees next to your bed, and then you would pray. So you'd pray to God, and you'd like say, "Please look after my mom and my dad," and all that good stuff. But the whole point here is that going onto your knees was actually like a pagan practice, a spiritual practice of like connecting with the earth. So it kind of got a bit skewed there with us asking for forgiveness and all that good stuff that we did in our Christian religions. But for me, so the practice of going on your knees, right? So you literally, I do this every now and again, stand next to my bed and I'm on my knees and I literally just feel all of that massive amount. I mean, you think you've got your shins, all of that is connecting to the ground. And then you basically visualize yourself just like really pushing your energy down into Gaia. And then for me, it's always about feeling how she meets you. So if you can visualize her energy coming up and then pulling that right up into your heart. And what I do from that point on is I then connect with my heart and I visualize myself like opening up my heart to receiving more. But in the process of that, I am fully and utterly connected to her, and she's holding me and she's steadying me and she's connecting me with her again. Okay, so I'm connecting with Gaia, and through the act of connecting with Gaia, I'm also able to open up my heart. So I also like doing this sometimes when I'm in the forest, and like really connecting with her energy and then just opening up my heart again. Because if you're in nature, you get to receive so much. Okay, there's just so much wisdom and beauty and stuff that you can receive when you're in nature. So just take a few moments, maybe tomorrow morning when you wake up, and see what it feels like if you visualize yourself and be on your knees and then pulling up the energy of Gaia and connecting yourself back into her, and then really like start opening up your heart. So visualize yourself totally opening up your heart. The other thing that I always do after I meditate, because I love to go and play around in the stars when I meditate and go to all sorts of weird places in my head, listening to freaky, high vibrational music and all that good stuff, which is really fun. But I mean, if you interrupt me during a meditation, I'm literally like between the worlds. So once I finish my meditation, and you'll see if you've done any of my meditations ever, the group meditations that I do, or if you've worked with me, we always end up grounding ourselves when we come back, right? So once we're back, after the meditation, I visualize myself planting my feet into the earth, and then I call on Mother Gaia and I ask her to come and hook her energy into my heart. So I know a lot of people, their practices, they send their roots down into the earth. But for me, I resonate more with asking her to come and hook into me and asking her to come and take my energy and pull it back into her. Okay, so what I do is I visualize myself standing there. I call on her and I ask her to come and hook into my heart. And I visualize her beautiful golden energy coming right up into my heart. And it's like a little hook. And then I can sort of feel how she tugs me down. And then I'm like fully standing there, supported in this energy. And then I pull all of my energy back into my body. I visualize myself pulling it into my crown, into all of my chakras, all of my energy back into my body, and I see myself putting myself firmly back into my human body. So you'll always hear me say pulling all of my body back into this third dimensional reality. So I basically speak myself back into my body, and then I start moving my fingers and my toes and I start waking myself up. But always ground yourself so that you can be here. And once you're like that, I mean, it's awesome because then you can go and do all sorts of stuff and function really properly, but you're grounded in with her. So for me, that's really one of the things that I love to do. The other thing, I wrote an article earlier this year actually about it, and I did some research, is about earthing, right? So because I'm now living in England and I'm completely and utterly in love with the forests, I realized that when I started doing forest walks here, um, my my mood just seemed to change. And I had a client many years ago, and she asked me about forest therapy, and I was like, oh, I have no idea what that is. And it is it's a therapy I think that was developed in Japan, and it's basically it's the practice of going into forests and meditating there and walking there and being present in forests to basically heal yourself and connect yourself and get back in touch with your body, etc. So it's got so many benefits. Um, and the whole point is like when you are in the forest, when you're with the trees, there are all these amazing ions and things that basically come out. Even if you can even do this next to the sea, so big bodies of water, forests, etc., trees in your garden, etc. When you are connecting with it and you are present in those spaces, it changes your body, and it also there's a lot of health benefits to it. So that's one thing for me that I really use my time wisely now when I go into the forest, because I'm quite lucky here that I have an immense amount of forest where I live, so I spend a lot of time there. But even if you don't have forests, and when I don't have time, I walk to my back garden, I take my shoes off, and I just stand on the grass outside or on the ground, depending where I am. And this really helps me to just ground my energy and also help with the beautiful particles that the earth sends up. So it really helps your body as well. So there's a lot of um, physical and like real body benefits to connecting yourself to the earth as well. And I've actually just invested in a grounding sheet that will be actually putting up this weekend, and we'll be sleeping on that. So so that really helps you as well. So there's all kinds of, you can go and read up about it. There's a lot of benefits for your bones and for aches and pains and all those good stuff as you're getting older, and then really just to connect you more to Mother Gaia. So I'm on a bit of a mission at the minute with that. But yeah, so take some time to, in some way, shape, or form, get yourself connected to Gaia. Because the thing is, you will be able to receive so much more information. You'll be able to really connect with higher dimensional aspects and codes and all sorts of amazing information if you allow yourself to ground. It's almost like grounding with her opens up the realms of possibility. Okay, so there's definitely something to it. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt. So I'm a big fan of working with her energy. So yeah, I hope this has given you some insight. And yeah, do go and Google. There's amazing things you can do. And just go and see what is the thing that resonates most with you. But the big thing is ground. Be there, be present, be with her. She's a bit of a rock star, and she's really enabling us to live to our fullest potential. And she teaches us so much. When I was in the forest the other day, I was walking and I was just like, my God, I could write a book about like all the amazingness of nature. There's just the simplest thing, like, you know, a flower growing or a tree losing its leaves. I mean, there's so much symbology and so much awesomeness in what she teaches us as well. So grounding to her will bring that knowledge and that wisdom back into you as well, and open your eyes to be able to see all of these things around you as well. So presence is a big thing. Okay, so that's me for this week. So I just wanted to say I hope you enjoyed the episode. What comes after G? F, G, H. Okay, so the next episode is going to be about H. And yeah, I'll surprise you with an interesting topic for that one as well. So have a fantastic day further, and please make sure that you rate the podcast, and I will see you soon. Thank you.